Hey traders, Mike Katz here with today's trader takeaways. It's Thursday and earnings is kicking in. Lots of symbols are reporting and there's been a decent amount of action. Some choppiness which caused some frustration early for me personally, but later on a couple of names started moving and ended up being a really nice day. So let's go over that real quick. I'll mention PBYI, which is Puma Therapeutics or biotechnology. This one had a big drop. I was short this one in swing, um, and it did really well right on the open. Had a massive drop. I added some size thinking this thing gets to 60 and 50, but it quickly reversed. This was a penny pilot symbol where the spread is minimum a nickel. At times it's at 50-cent spreads, and this thing can move very quick. So before I knew it, this thing was coming back and retraced back a really big swing from being big in the money to big out of the money, and I ended up getting stopped out here. So this one contributed to some losses early, in addition to ITUS. Where is ITUS? There it is. Ended up just being chop all day. This one in particular, yes, early on, I thought maybe he wants to go long off of this. I get long, I add, and then they pull the rug out, get stopped out, and then I'm thinking this is probably a short, and then it curls up and goes higher and stops me out. So wasn't a great morning, but Netflix has been working. A couple of you guys have been asking about that, so I'll mention it real quick. My Netflix trade that's been working is just a gapper. This one runs up on earnings. That night in the evening, I bought it here, actually right here as it was curling back up. Or was it here? Somewhere here, versus 245, and it got a nice push the next morning. Comes back to retest the previous night's high and holds, runs up, and on this dip, when this market dragged this down, I add some more here, and again gets going, and just keep on trailing my stop. This has been a really nice trade, and I actually took off half of the position. Just what I added here, I took it off this morning at 270, and now I'm trying to see which way it wants to go. So this was good. And then Mankind was in play. This thing had news, started moving, and this is a former runner. And if we look at the daily real quick, you could see that this thing can move. In the past, it's put on a squeeze on the shorts, and it could definitely move, right? So that's in the back of my mind. And so initially when I saw this thing, I didn't want to chase it. I did not want to chase it because this thing can pull back pretty strong. So I don't usually use Sterling charts, but I'll bring this up here just so it'll be easier to go over some executions. And basically this thing starts to run up, gets through $3, and I didn't want to chase it. I felt that there was a lot going on, but I didn't want to chase it. And then goes to 310 or something, and then I end up catching it on this nice wash to $3 near the figure. Bought it, but then I end up managing the trade in a way where I get out a little bit too early, and it was a nice trade, don't get me wrong, but looking back at it, there was a lot more to capture on the long side here. And then I end up just sitting tight, looking at this one, and it gets rejected by 350 area right here, puts in a hammer on volume, and I end up going short here and covering into the wash. And when it comes back up, there was another big hammer here. Let me see, maybe we can zoom in. These are not bars, these are really candlesticks, but okay. So there was another big hammer here on volume, so I get short there, and I end up adding here at 36, thinking this thing's going to finally crap out, and it doesn't do it. Ends up holding a nice higher low, and I end up closing everything here on the short side, and that ended up being a nice trade as well. and then it just ends up going up, double topping. And let's see, I don't even know how to make how do you make a line here? Add line study. Let's go with trend line. There it is. So it gives a nice ascending triangle with ascending lows, and that's what I'm targeting now. The height of this triangle was from 360 down to 320, and I'm targeting that 40 cents projected up to $4. And so I didn't want to chase it here. It gets rejected, pulls back, and I buy this pullback versus I'm looking for this thing to break. As it does break this 360, basically it kind of takes its sweet time, and I didn't see the power that I wanted to see on this break out of 360, so I end up taking off half here, but I still have a nice big chunk, and I just sit tight, and this thing just keeps on going, and the shorts were trapped here, and it starts to get parabolic. And when we're sitting here right around this area, I'm thinking it's going to probably get to $4, and it could happen really fast on a parabolic whoosh. So I put out an offer at 394, thinking that if it does get to $4, it should get rejected at least once, which will allow me to buy back my shares. So I get out here, and within a couple minutes, really, boom, it just rips up, goes to 94, and quickly comes down to 84, and then just starts to grind back up. So at this point I'm flat, and I'm thinking, okay, it might do an over under once at around $4, and that's where most shorts will probably puke it out. So I figured, you know what, let me get, if I see it get above 4, I'll take one stab at it on the short side and short into that push, and I'm not going to give it a lot of space. If it gets above 11 and above 21, I'll be out. So I ended up doing that, getting short right above $4, and quickly within a minute or two, able to get that wash down to 90, and cover a little bit here, not much, and then the rest down into this wash. And as it was curling back up over here, and I was done with the short. So then I'm thinking I'd like to see this thing get back up, maybe push through 4 finally, because it is flagging, it's not really falling apart, and the shorts might still be stuck. So I end up trying this on the long side here on this dip. So I get a nice dip back for a higher low test here versus here. So I buy some here thinking if it starts to work, I'll add. Very quickly it starts to go up, but fails. I end up closing the trade out at 380 when I saw that this was making a lower high, and couldn't hold here. So basically I just got out of the position here and hit the bid at 380, and I was done with it. And now I have it on my radar, see how it behaves tonight, tomorrow pre-market, and potentially see if there's any action if it gets above 4 and then on a pullback retest of 4, or if that was the move and then we have to just watch for the backside. So Mankind was just fantastic. I love these types of stocks where I could do size, and you know, it has a big range as well. Percentage wise, these things can really move, and that always helps. So Mankind was good. And then I'll just quickly mention Ford. Ford was one that was really nice performer. This is the core of what we do here. I know Stan was looking forward to talking to you guys regarding Ford, but had earnings, takes a big dip early, was involved on the short side here, gets a bounce. I end up shorting, you know, covering into the wash, shorting into the pop, into VWAP, comes back and now starts to what? 1162 starts to hold once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. So I start sizing in here, thinking that, okay, this could be lower high versus here, but it looked like it wanted to do another one of those moves. But what gave me conviction to stay with the trade and add over here instead of puke it out was that there was a massive seller, VWAP seller, JP Morgan, every 5 seconds selling on the bid a few thousand shares. So we were able to interact with him all day long, and it was very persistent seller, and that gave me the conviction to stay with it and to size in here. I doubled up my size here and covered back to core here. And then when I saw that that seller from JP Morgan was just nonstop, very aggressive, we've seen that before, and and then I said, all right, now it's really starting to look like my triangle, and I think I can target 1150, 1145, and this thing did, I think, almost 100 million shares, really thick quote, and really able to do size in this one. And you don't need, a massive move to capitalize on something like this because the position size is just so big, right? So this ended up staircasing down, almost acting like an SSR stock. Doesn't want to flip up, a lot of pressure, and just ends up making this a very easy trade. Not, I shouldn't say easy, but a comfortable trade where with the type of sizing that I had on, I could see myself saying, oh man, this is a little nerve-wracking, but for some reason I was just able to be very comfortable with the size and just let the trade work, knowing that the seller is there, and covered some into this break here. And from this point on, I started just scaling out. I didn't make it as far as, down here, but I caught a very nice big chunk of this move from this within this triangle and the break and then down into here. So fantastic day. Earnings, thank you, right? Appreciate it. Action is great, and looking forward to what's reporting tonight and tomorrow, and hopefully this will keep going. Next week we'll make an announcement, but next week I'll be trading out of the Florida office. Stan's conducting some interviews down there. We're trying to fill up the last few seats, and so I'll be joining him and helping him with the interviews and hang out down in Florida for a little bit. It's work. I got to take one for the team. Got to go sit in the sun. It's not easy getting away from the cold here in New York, but you got to do it for work. You just got to do it. You got to take one for the team, right? So that's the plan. Nice day. Started out a little frustrating early, but just really a couple of gifts. Mankind and Ford ended up really setting up nicely, and the key was to just size in whenever the opportunity was there and capitalize. So that's it for today. That's my takeaway. Appreciate you guys listening. Hit the smash the like button, subscribe, and appreciate all the great feedback you guys have been giving us. Thank you guys.